What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Kappelle Outdoor video. And today I figured we'd go over some of the fundamentals on how to truck or vehicle camp. That's finding location as well as having all the essential gear that you need to get started truck or vehicle camping. Or if you are a seasoned veteran, maybe you can learn a thing or two on here that you didn't know. But with that being said, if you are a seasoned veteran, don't forget to drop a comments down below. Give your little advice because we're all here to learn. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So we're over here hiding out in the shade up against the truck. And I figured I'd briefly go ahead and talk about how to find locations for truck or vehicle camping. So there are 6 that I've narrowed it down to. So we got WMAs, we have BLM land, we have national forest, we have state parks, we got campgrounds, and we also have apps. So here in the state of Georgia, we have several WMAs. Probably 8 times out of 10, the WMAs have free camping. The only way you're going to get onto a WMA is having a fishing license, hunting license, or a land permit. But the campsites on WMAs are primitive, so you have no hookups. So you would have to bring your own water, your own power, and do your own toiletries and septic and stuff like that. So that would kind of be the same for BLM land, national forest, stuff like that. We don't have. I don't think we have any BLM land on the East Coast. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not very familiar with BLM land. We do have a few national forests on the East Coast, but I think all of the BLM land is on the western side of the country. So I know they have tons of BLM land over there. But with that being said, do your own research. The other options are state park and campgrounds. Now, each state has state parks, and most of the time the state parks has some sort of campground. If they have a tent site, 9 times out of 10 they'll have a parking area within the campsite that you can park at, and you can just truck or vehicle camp there. And it's a little bit cheaper if you don't need hookups or anything like that. Camping on state park and campgrounds are also a good option because you can reserve a campsite. So if you're traveling a lot of hours, 6, 10, 12 hours, whatever, and you go to a state park, you know that you have a site waiting for you instead of trying to do the first come, first serve when it comes to dispersed camping. Another option is apps. So let me turn on my screen recording here. As you can see here, I have a lot of apps I use. Well, not a lot, but a few apps I use to find dispersed camping spots. I have the Onyx Off-Road. That's a good app to use. You can find a lot on there from all the overland people. There's also Hip Camp in the Dirt. I think you have to pay a subscription on the Dirt to get free camping, which is kind of crazy to me. And then you also have Hip Camp, which I don't really use, but I have it just in case. The main thing I use is iOverlander 2, so we're going to go ahead and open that up. And then here I have the state of Alabama selected because Abby and I have a trip planned in the next few weeks to Alabama. And we're just going to go ahead and zoom in like right in here. So this is Montgomery, Alabama here. And you can see I have a few icons on here. Now they have pre-filters, so you can go and select what you want. I just have just basically free camping areas and campgrounds. So you can see here the tent with a moon, that is free camping. So you can see here they have a description, a dead-end path, quiet residential area, and it shows you what kind of amenities they have. So it's pet-friendly, like RV or van-friendly. It's on the roadside, urban, stuff like that. And then the check-ins here at the bottom, you can see where people would put in their little info there. They also have pictures here. So you can see here somebody's little mobile home on wheels. So it's a nice little dead end area. So you have those options. And then you can see here we have the tent, regular tent icon here. Most of those are just going to be campgrounds or resorts. So we have the backyard RV resort. So you can see they got the description here, and then all your amenities here, and then a few pictures and stuff like that. So most of your campgrounds are going to have all your hookups and stuff like that. And then we got the tent with the building here, and those are going to be businesses. So like Planet Fitness, Cracker Barrel, gas stations like Love, Pilot, Buc-ee's, any truck stop gas station like that, maybe a rest area, Walmart, and the list goes on and on. But here you can see we have a Planet Fitness, brief description, got running water, it's got heat, I guess. That's what that means. Water, and you can see some people check in there. So how I have my iOverlander 2 app set up, it's just very basic. You can go in there and check off what you want to pop up. So even right here you can see I got a little water icon there. So that way if you need to fill up your water jug or whatever, you can do so there. Oh, also, and then here you can see this is like a no camping area. So but yeah, that's pretty much about it as far as how to find locations. Now, if you want me to go deeper into those, feel free to drop down in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think, or if y'all have any advice, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. Now, what we're going to do is go over some of the essential gear that you'll need to start truck camping or vehicle camping. All right, guys, so now we are going to talk about the essential gear that anybody needs when it comes to truck or vehicle camping. I'm going to start off with the sleep system. So this is going to change throughout the year. Obviously, you're not going to use your winter stuff during the summertime, and you don't want to use your summertime stuff during the winter because you will burn up and you will freeze. So with that being said, there's a lot of options when it comes to truck or vehicle camping. Now, you will have to do some research on what you would need to fit your needs, whether you are in a truck or in a car or a van. But we're just going to use my truck as an example because, that's what I have. So if y'all watch my previous videos, whether I am truck camping by myself or if I'm truck camping with Abby, we use some kind of mattress. Now, this is not like the traditional air mattress you would get that blows up to this thick or whatever, but when I'm truck camping by myself, I usually use the Sea to Summit air mattress. So how I would do it is I would lay down a closed cell foam folding sleeping pad. That's the foldable ones. That goes down first, and then I would have my Sea to Summit air mattress on top of that, and then my sleeping bag, and then a pillow. Now, when I am truck camping with Abby, it's a little bit different. I would put a comforter down on top of the platform here, and then we have one of those Amazon air mattresses. It blows up to like 4 inches thick. It's really dense. It's really comfortable. It's really nice. So, and then it takes up just about the width of the bed back here between the fender wells. So I would blow that up, and then we would have a sleeping bag and a comforter on that, depending on what time of year it was. As far as your sleep system goes, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. Like I said, you would just need to do it to fit your needs at whatever time of year that you like to camp. All right, guys, so now we are into the cooking gear. Now, do you have to have a system like this? No, but does it come in handy? Most definitely it does. If you watched any of my previous videos, and I will put any kind of truck camping related video, the links down in the description below. So if y'all seen my previous videos, I used to have my truck cooking kit in 2 totes, and it stayed in the cab of the truck in the backseat area. So I had a larger tote that would hold most of the bulk of the gear. So like the stove, cutting board, pots and pans and stuff like that. And then I would have a little smaller one on top of that, and that was kind of like my pantry. So It held my seasonings, and kind of like pantry food, stuff like that. So ramen noodles and soups and stuff like that, depending on what time of year it was. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started with the first piece of cooking gear that you're going to need. Now, you can't cook anything if you don't have a stove. So this right here is a two-person. It's a 2-burner Coleman stove. And I know it's dirty, so don't come at me in the comments. But this thing makes life a lot easy. You can cook 2 things at once, obviously, with the 2 burners. Now, if you feel like a 2-burner stove is too much for you, or you don't have room for it, they make single burner stoves. You can do that, but if you feel like that's still too much for you, you can even get the little small canister stoves to cook on. Can you cook a big meal on that? No, but will it do the job? Yes, obviously. All right, guys. So the next thing you'll need is utensils. Gotta have utensils to cook, right? I don't know the name of it because I done forgot, but years ago Abby got me like a utensil cooking kit, and it came in a backpack, like a little small bag, not really a backpack, and it had everything you need to cook. I mean, it had knives and spoons and cooking utensils, tongs, cutting board, stuff like that. So having utensils to cook is obviously a must. So you'll need to figure that out in your kit, how you want to do it. If you want to go simple with it, you can, or if you want to go extravagant, by all means do so. The next thing would be pots and pans. So in my little kit, I have cast iron. So I have 2 10-inch cast iron. If you are not familiar with cast iron, or don't know nothing about it and don't want to use cast iron, so this right here is a King Camp, like a pot and pan set. So the pan is actually at the house, so that would sit on the bottom. So I mean, if you're looking for something simple, so you have 2 plates here, and all of this nest in one bag. So you have 2 plates at the bottom, then you'll have a pan that goes on the bottom. Like I said, it's at the house. And then here you have 3 pots. So you got different size pots. And then here it comes with a little rice cooker spoon, which I find that kind of interesting. I don't know if they're trying to tell me something, considering I'm Korean. But also here they got little bowls here. So you can use it to mix or use it to eat out of or whatever. And then all these pots have lids on them, so, and it all packs down into this one little bag. So now there's different companies that make different sets like that. I'll let you do your own research. I have a big stainless steel bowl here I use to mix with or eat out of if I want to do like a big salad or something. Here I got some plates, so you're gonna have to have plates. Whether you want to, you can use paper plates if you want, if you don't want to have to deal with stuff like this. And then here I got some Sea to Summit collapsible bowls. I really like the Sea to Summit gear, and especially like collapsible bowls and stuff like that, so you can use that to eat out of as well. As far as cooking wise, I mean, that's pretty much the basics. So you just need something to cook with. So stove, utensils to cook with, pots and pans to cook in, and then pretty much it goes on from there. So, all right, guys. So another thing to add to your cooking gear is going to be a cooler. So either a cooler or one of those car or truck refrigerators is a great way to go. Either or will do the job. This is an Arctic cooler. It's old. It's abused. I think it's a 45 quart cooler. I bought it years ago, and I left it in the bed of my truck for a while before I had my topper, so that's why the top of it's discolored. I need to get a new one, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go with a cooler or one of those little refrigerators. Another thing is you got to have water. So this is a Scepter 20-liter water container. You got to have water to cook with, to wash dishes, wash gear off, wash yourself. So water is very important. I got one of these. It's strapped down to the wooden platform because I got tired of it sliding around. All right, guys. So another thing you're going to need is some sort of power supply. It can be a battery, something similar to what I got, or one of those Jackery power systems or whatever. But this is my trolling motor battery that I use for my kayak, and I take it with me when I go truck camping, because I bought the battery and the case itself all in one. So it's got ports on the side to plug in a cigarette lighter or a USB or USB-C, so I can charge my phone, my inReach cameras and stuff like that, and Abby can charge her stuff. So that's what I use. So having a power supply just to charge your electronics, or you can even charge it on the inside of your car or your truck or whatever, but just having some more additional power supply is really great. All right, guys. Well, hopefully I covered everything in this video as far as truck or vehicle camping, either when it's finding a location or having the essential gear that you need. It just makes a whole lot of difference, because you don't want to get out there and forget something, and then you'll have to drive however long it's going to take you to get back in town to get said gear and then go back out there into wherever it is you're camping at. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this one just as much as I enjoyed making it. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel, and I'll see you all on the next one.